The night had fallen heavy over the quiet suburbs, the kind of silence that made every passing car seem louder than it really was. Inside a gated estate on the edge of town, the lights burned softly in the windows of a grand white mansion. Few people knew the truth about what was happening behind those elegant doors, but what unfolded inside would leave a mark on every person who ever heard the story. At the center of it all was Ryan Matthews, a 34-year-old entrepreneur whose sharp instincts in real estate had turned him from a boy who once mowed lawns for cash into a millionaire before the age of 30. Yet, for all his success, Ryan remained down to earth. His wealth wasn't the result of luck alone, but of determination, and the sacrifices his mother, Doris, had made for him. Doris was in her late 60s now, silver hair pulled into a neat bun, her face softened with the lines of time and wisdom. She had raised Ryan alone after his father walked out when he was just 10. She worked 2 jobs, sometimes coming home with aching feet, only to cook dinner and help him with homework. Ryan never forgot those nights. And that was why, no matter how large his empire grew, he never left her side. Doris lived with him in the mansion, not because she demanded it, but because Ryan wanted her there. The world saw Ryan as a man who had everything: money, influence, charm. But in truth, he longed for something deeper. Love. That was when Claire entered his life. Claire Thompson was stunning in every way: long blonde hair, piercing blue eyes, and a smile that seemed to light up every room. They had met at a charity gala 2 years earlier. Claire carried herself with elegance, and Ryan, though cautious, was drawn to her warmth. She spoke about building a family, about wanting to care for his mother as if she were her own. Slowly, Ryan began to believe he had found the woman who would complete his life. After months of dating, Ryan proposed to her under a canopy of lights in his garden. Doris had tears in her eyes that night, hugging Claire tightly and whispering, "Welcome to the family." For a while, everything seemed perfect. The 3 of them shared meals, holidays, and evenings by the fireplace. But perfection often hides cracks too faint to see at first glance. The story begins the night Ryan returned home earlier than expected from a business trip. He had told Claire he would be gone until the weekend, but a deal wrapped up quicker than planned. Excited to surprise her and spend some time with his mother, he didn't call ahead. He simply told his driver to take him straight home. As he stepped into the mansion's marble foyer, Ryan noticed something odd. The air inside didn't feel welcoming, it was tense, sharp somehow. From the kitchen, faint noises echoed, and he thought he heard his mother's voice, low and strained. His heart tightened. He set his bag down quietly and walked toward the sound. What he saw as he reached the living room froze him. His elderly mother was standing near the sofa, clutching her side, while Claire, the woman he had promised his future to, stood in front of her with a face twisted in cold anger. Before Ryan could process it, Claire shoved Doris's frail body back against the couch and kicked her leg sharply. Ryan's heart pounded against his chest, his breath caught between disbelief and rage. The woman he loved, the woman he had trusted, was hurting the one person he cherished most in the world. Claire. Ryan's voice thundered through the room. Claire spun around, her eyes wide in shock, her perfect smile nowhere to be found. Doris looked up with tears pooling in her eyes, her lips trembling as she whispered, "Ryan." The silence that followed was unbearable. Ryan's fists clenched at his sides as anger surged through him. But mixed with the fury was something deeper, betrayal so sharp it cut into his soul. "Ryan, wait," Claire stammered, her voice suddenly soft, desperate. "It's not what it looks like." "Not what it looks like," he shot back, his voice shaking with rage. "I just saw you put your hands, and your feet, on my mother." Doris struggled to sit up, her breathing uneven. Ryan rushed to her side, kneeling next to her. "Mom, are you okay? Did she hurt you?" His eyes scanned her arm, her leg, searching for bruises. "I'm fine," Doris whispered weakly, though her eyes betrayed her pain. She placed a trembling hand on his arm. "I didn't want to tell you, Ryan." I didn't want to come between you two. His stomach dropped. The weight of her words pressed down on him like a boulder. Tell me what? Doris hesitated, her eyes flicking toward Claire, who stood pale and cornered, wringing her hands. This isn't the first time, Doris admitted, her voice breaking. Ryan felt as though the floor had fallen from beneath him. His world spun with disbelief. He turned slowly to Claire, his expression a mix of devastation and fury. You've been doing this before? Claire shook her head quickly, tears suddenly spilling down her cheeks. No, Ryan, please, you don't understand. She pushes me, she criticizes me every day. I lost my temper. I swear I never meant. Ryan cut her off, his voice low and filled with venom. You never meant to. You've been pretending all this time, pretending to love me, pretending to care for my mother, when behind my back you've been abusing her. Claire dropped to her knees, sobbing. Ryan, I love you. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. Sometimes she says things that get to me, and I. But Ryan wasn't listening anymore. His focus was on his mother, whose hand shook as she tried to hold his. The betrayal in her eyes hurt more than any words Claire could ever say. That moment was a storm, a clash of loyalty, love, and heartbreak that would shape everything to come. Ryan had to choose, the woman he thought he loved, or the woman who had given him everything. And in that storm, his decision would shock everyone. But before that decision came, the truth of Claire's double life, the hidden greed and cruelty she had masked with beauty, was about to unravel. Because this wasn't just about love gone wrong. This was about exposing the kind of person Claire truly was, and Ryan's resolve to protect his mother at all costs. As Ryan helped Doris to her feet, his mind raced. He wasn't going to let this end with apologies and excuses. He would uncover every truth, no matter how painful, and make sure justice was served. That night marked the beginning of a revelation no one in their circle could have imagined. And as Ryan stood tall, holding his mother close while glaring at the woman who betrayed them both, he knew one thing with absolute certainty: his actions from here on would change everything. Ryan didn't sleep that night. After helping Doris to bed and making sure she was comfortable, he paced his study with his mind racing. Claire was still in the house, crying and begging him to talk, but Ryan locked her out of the room. His thoughts were a storm, every laugh they'd shared, every whispered promise from her now twisted into a cruel mockery. The truth had slipped from Doris's lips, this wasn't the first time. That meant Claire had been hiding her cruelty, maybe even calculating, while he played the fool in love. By morning, Ryan's decision was clear. He went to Doris first. She sat propped against pillows, her face pale but calm. Ryan, she whispered, don't let anger ruin your future. Just let her go and move on. But Ryan shook his head. No, Mom. She doesn't get to walk away after hurting you. She needs to be exposed for what she really is. Later that day, he confronted Claire. She was waiting in the living room, eyes red and swollen. Ryan, please, she started, but he held up a hand. Stop. I don't want excuses. I want the truth. How long has this been happening? Claire's voice cracked. A few months, maybe more. But I swear it wasn't what you think. I was under pressure, I didn't know how to handle living here with my mother. Ryan's voice sharpened. She's the reason I even have this life. And you thought you could come into this house and disrespect her? Hurt her? Claire dropped her gaze, and in that silence Ryan saw the truth, remorse laced with fear of losing her wealthy lifestyle, not genuine love. He straightened his back. Pack your things. You're leaving this house today. She gasped. Ryan, no. We're engaged. Everyone is expecting a wedding, our families, your colleagues. Think about your reputation. A bitter laugh escaped him. My reputation? I'd rather have no reputation at all than build one with a woman who abuses my mother. You fooled me once, Claire. Never again. Her mask cracked then, desperation turning to fury. Do you really think anyone will believe her? She's old, forgetful. People will think she made it up because she doesn't like me. Ryan's jaw tightened. You've shown me exactly who you are. And trust me, everyone will know the truth. Claire's eyes flared, but she saw in his face that there was no turning back. With a sharp inhale, she stormed upstairs to gather her belongings. Over the next week, whispers spread among their circle. Claire tried to twist the story, painting herself as the victim of an overprotective mother-in-law. But Ryan had anticipated that. He quietly arranged a dinner with close friends and family, where Doris, though shaken, bravely told the truth. She described the nights of silent abuse, the cruel words, the hidden shoves when no one else was watching. The room fell silent, disbelief turning into outrage. And when Ryan stood beside his mother, vowing never to let anyone mistreat her again, the strength of his character silenced any doubts. Claire's facade crumbled soon after. Friends distanced themselves, and invitations that once flowed stopped arriving. The glittering social circle she craved evaporated overnight. Meanwhile, Ryan found himself rebuilding, not his fortune, but his faith in love and trust. For weeks, he focused on Doris, taking her on drives to the countryside, sharing quiet dinners, and making sure she felt safe again. The bond between them grew even stronger, stitched with resilience. But there was more. Ryan realized he wasn't alone. How many others were suffering in silence at the hands of people who wore masks of love? Inspired by his mother's courage, he launched a foundation dedicated to supporting elderly victims of domestic abuse. Doris became the quiet face of that cause, her story inspiring countless others to speak up. Months later, as Ryan stood at a fundraiser event, speaking about the importance of protecting those who raised us, he looked over at Doris. She sat at a table, smiling softly, pride glowing in her eyes. That moment meant more to him than any business deal ever could. And when people whispered about Claire and the scandal that followed, Ryan no longer cared. His reputation hadn't been tarnished, it had been strengthened. Because he showed the world that no amount of love, beauty, or wealth was worth more than loyalty to the person who had given him everything. The mansion felt different now. Quieter, yes, but peaceful. Trust had been restored where betrayal once lived. Ryan knew love would come again someday, but when it did, it would be with someone who truly honored the values he held dear. Doris often told him in the evenings, "You did the right thing, son. You didn't just protect me, you showed everyone what real love looks like." And Ryan would smile, squeezing her hand. "You raised me to never settle for less, Mom. I only followed your example." In the end, the shocking moment Ryan caught his fiancée kicking his elderly mother became more than a story of betrayal. It became a story of courage, justice, and the unbreakable bond between a mother and son. Because wealth can buy many things, cars, houses, status. But it can never buy integrity. And Ryan Matthews proved to everyone that protecting the ones you love is the greatest fortune a person can ever have. Ryan's story is a reminder that love is not measured by wealth, beauty, or status, it's measured by respect, kindness, and loyalty. True strength is standing up for those who once stood up for us. In the end, money can buy many things, but it can never buy integrity or love. Protect your family, cherish your parents, and never compromise your values, because that's the greatest fortune of all.